Hello all, I am Sawanwani. We are now into the eighth lecture of power plant instrumentation. Up till now, we have learned the various designs in power plant systems, various costs related to power plant, and also the various types of measurements done in power plant system. Basically, for viewing all the videos, I would like to request to all the viewers to subscribe my YouTube channel for getting the various videos on engineering. Now we are in the race of completing power plant instrumentation concept, and we have posted the various types of lectures related to that. So today's lecture will be based on the analytical measurement of various types of systems like smoke, how to measure a smoke from system, how to measure dust, then how to measure the oxygen which is there in the gas, then what are the various types of elements involved in this type of measurement, what are the various types of analysis done while doing the measurement. So we will start our lecture with this basic fundamentals of the power plant instrumentations of the analytical measurement. So oxygen measurement in flue gas. So we are going to start this oxygen measurement in flue gas. The thermal efficiency of the boiler is controlled with the knowledge of oxygen percentage in flue gas. So basically, the output of the boiler is always taken into consideration, that is thermal efficiency. So for that particular higher efficiency, to get that achieve that higher thermal efficiency, or we can say that the oxygen percentage in the flue gas is controlling the thermal efficiency of the boiler. So therefore the oxygen measurement in the flue gas is more important. We know that the basic way in which the efficiency of any particular system can be improved is by reducing the amount of the exhaust emissions. So this flue gas is also considering an exhaust emission in that is it itself is a exhaust emission. So therefore the oxygen measurement in this flue gas is more important. This information is helpful to set proper air fuel ratio and obtain optimum excess air. So therefore this oxygen percentage value will help us to adjust the amount of air fuel ratio, because we all know that for a perfect air fuel ratio, that is known as a stoichiometric air fuel ratio, the particular value of air fuel ratio is to be determined. So therefore this information will also help us to set this proper air fuel ratio, and therefore in order to that obtain optimum excess air. So this is the apparatus, the Orsat apparatus, which works on selective chemical absorption principle and is considered primary standard for volumetric analysis of products of combustion. Now basically see that while we are getting the output of the engine in terms of an exhaust gas, so that exhaust gas is also having it is an particular composition of the products of combustion. So we can say that the gas which is that is the exhaust gas which is coming out from a IC engine will be classified into the various types of gases such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, then nitrogen oxides, then hydrogen oxides, etc. So for measuring that which type of combustion, which type of element, that is product of combustion, is available in how much percentage, so that is the volumetric analysis is done. There are two types of analysis here: gravimetric analysis and volumetric analysis. So this Orsat apparatus mostly can be considered for measuring the volume percentage. Suppose if the product of combustion is suppose 10, then this volumetric analysis will give us the exact combination, exact measurement of the products of various products of combustion in that particular exhaust sample. This can be used for only for sample analysis, but not as continuous online instrument. So while we are going to measure that how much amount of oxygen is there in that particular exhaust gas, so this type of arrangement can only be used as for a particular sample. It is not used in the continuous online process. So the online oxygen analyzers use two principles, that is first using a paramagnetic property of oxygen, and second is the using zirconium oxide probes. Now see, while measurement on online means the particular when the engine is in operation, the IC engine is operation, and still we are getting the output of that particular system from when we give the input. So continuous measurement will give us the value of the oxygen. So basically going for the ORSAT apparatus, we are directly taking two online properties here, like paramagnetic property of oxygen and zirconium oxide probes are used to measure the, or are used as an oxygen gas analyzers in flue gas for online measurement. So we are going now we will go to the next slide here. Analytical measurement, then in that sub point oxygen measurement in flue gas, and in that paramagnetic oxygen analyzer. Among industrial gases which are of interest to us, only oxygen is highly paramagnetic. So therefore we are using this paramagnetic oxygen analyzer, because mostly the oxygen gas is there which is highly paramagnetic in nature. So this property decreases as the temperature increases. So the paramagnetic property will decrease for the oxygen as the temperature increases. So the poles of the permanent magnet extend into a test cell made of a non-magnetic material. A platinum resistance wire which can be electrically heated to about 300 degrees Celsius is mounted in the zone of maximum field strength. So see that in this sentence, a platinum resistance wire which can be electrically heated to about 300 degrees Celsius is mounted in the zone of maximum field strength, because at the point where the oxygen amount of oxygen is expected as in more quantity, there this platinum resistance wire is mounted. The circulation of the flue gas is produced due to thermal updrift. The magnet at first exert a strong attraction upon the oxygen present. As the latter is heated, it loses part of its paramagnetism and is replaced by colder and more active oxygen. So the resultant gas circulation cools the platinum wire and causes unbalanced voltage in the bridge, which is a measure of oxygen percentage in flue gas. So see that in this particular theory of this paramagnetic oxygen analyzer, it is mentioned that the actual oxygen from the flue gas which is maintained in the flue gas will be at a certain higher temperature. So that higher temperature of the oxygen will be replaced by some paramagnetism process, and therefore that will be replaced by some colder and more active oxygen in place of that particular higher temperature oxygen. And therefore then as this system is connected to the Wheatstone bridge circuit, it will unbalance the Wheatstone bridge circuit, because the one end will be cooler and one end will be the hotter. So therefore due to this, the oxygen percentage in the flue gas can be measured, because the unbalanced condition will create a particular signal, that is an electrical signal, which can be calibrated for measuring the oxygen percentage in flue gas. Then going to next slide. This is the diagram which will be showing the paramagnetism of the particular oxygen measurement. So you can see here that there are four arms of the Wheatstone bridge circuit, and here at the lower end you can see that a north condition is applied and a south condition is there, and this is the test gas which is coming inside the particular paramagnetism for the paramagnetism process, that is the oxygen gas analyzer, and this outer probe is known as the test cell. And these two parts are there, these are the platinum wires which actually will one will be at the hotter junction and second will be at the cold junction, and this is the way in which the gas is circulated over its or the at the inside part of the test cell. So what will happen is the test gas which is coming inside will try to flow over these two particular the points shown of the bifilar platinum wire. So therefore what will happen is some amount of oxygen which is at higher temperature will replace the actual oxygen which is present in this particular test cell, and therefore there will be some difference, and therefore the Wheatstone bridge circuit will be actually unbalanced. So we can see the working here. The figure shows the basic Wheatstone bridge arrangement used for measuring oxygen percentage in flue gas using paramagnetic principle. The figure shows how oxygen is influenced by the magnetic field and is forced to flow through the heated platinum wire placed in the magnetic field. So therefore, the oxygen gas which is there, it is directly forced to flow through the heated platinum wire, as we have seen earlier in the earlier slide. To double the sensitivity of the bridge, two arms of the bridge are exposed to magnetic field. The other two arms have dummy pole shoes to give the reference for the effect of the thermal of drift while retaining geometric symmetry. So see that the actual gas which is provided, they are provided only to the two arms of the Wheatstone bridge circuit, but the other two arms are only at the dummy poles. And what does the dummy pole means? Dummy poles means they are having any no load, or they can capture any type of load which is coming on them, and so therefore initial there is no load, or they are directly connected to the atmosphere. So in this way, the paramagnetic oxygen gas analyzer is there in the working stage. Going to next slide now. Analytical measurement, oxygen measurement in flue gas, that is a zirconium oxygen probe. This is another type of oxygen measurement. The flue gas analysis for percentage oxygen using paramagnetic analyzer discussed is carried out by extracting a sample, filtering, cooling and drying it before passing it to the analyzer proper. So basically see that when this type of oxygen measurement is done, firstly the actual maintenance is done for the oxygen gas, which is if suppose it is at a higher temperature, then the particular system is checked for any blockages or any higher temperatures or overheating of the systems. So therefore the flue gas analysis, when it was used for a paramagnetic analyzer, first it was the process was carried out by taking a particular sample, then filtering it, then cooling it, then drying it, etc. So frequent maintenance was necessary to prevent sampling system blockage. So as we have seen that the maintenance required is more. Specialized skills are required to keep it in operation and for calibration. So solid state zirconia sensor is designed around rugged non-sampling techniques to withstand the flue gas environment, which is known as in situ sampling. So remember this, that while paramagnetic was there, now the zirconium oxygen probe, what it will do is, it is just a rugged construction and it is a type of a sensor. So this sensor will be able to withstand the flue gas environment temperature, and there is no any need of the extra sampling. So therefore it is known as in situ sampling. The ceramic material zirconium oxide, that is ZRO, when heated acts as a permeable membrane to oxygen. In other words, the zirconium oxide ceramic sensing element is a closed end tube which when hot conducts oxygen ions. Porous platinum coating on the inside and outside of the tubes serve as the electrodes. So you can see the diagram here of a zirconium sensor or the zirconium oxygen probe. The flue gases are going to pass over this particular zirconium cell, we can call it as, and at the two ends we are having the heater coils. So over this zirconium cell the heater coils will be placed, and at the at the inlet of the flue gas and at the outlet of the flue gas, the perforated platinum coated electrodes are placed. And in order to achieve the difference between that flue gas temperature and the reference air temperature, the reference air is taken from the bottom side, and that air in addition with flue gas is connected to go for the outside stage, and the outlet of this perforated platinum coated electrode is connected to the input of the flue gas. So what will happen is, when the flue gas is passing through this zirconium cell, directly there will be some amount of EMF generated, and this EMF will be in the form of a signal. So basically that signal will give us the value that how much amount of oxygen is present inside the particular flue gas. So the figure shows a zirconium element equipped with platinum electrodes, thermostatic heating, and a source of air as reference gas. The other side of the probe is exposed to the flue gas. As we have explained the working of this, directly we are seeing that the theory related to this, the oxygen partial pressure on the reference side is of the cell is known, and hence the EMF produced by the cell indicates the oxygen content of the flue gas. So as we have seen in the working of this particular zirconium cell, that the basic working fundamental is the through this zirconium cell we have to pass the flue gas, and the flue gas is connected to the signal, that is or to a element which will generate an EMF, and the output signal will give us the amount of the measurement of the flue gas inside the system. So therefore, going to the next slide, now smoke detector. As we have seen two types of paramagnetic oxygen analyzer and zirconium oxygen analyzer. Now we will see how a smoke detector is done, or how a smoke outside the particular any IC engine or any system, power plant system is measured. In earlier years, smoking through chimney was considered as the scale to measure the industrial development of a country. So basically, when the measurement was not applied, at the same time, the input or the output of the productivity of the industry or productivity of the country was measured in the amount of the smoke generated by the industries. So in this way, the particular measurement of the development of the industry or a country was done. So more number of chimneys emitting different colors of smokes were belonging to advanced nations. So as the number of colors increased of the smokes, so therefore as the number of chimneys also increased, so the amount of the colors of the smokes also increased. So actually then this was the sign of the advanced nations. The environmental awareness nowadays has forced one to think that the discharging of smoke into the environment is an unnecessary evil. So now you can see that as the revolution has been developed, the industry revolution has been at a faster rate, and we can see that from in the last 50 years in whole world, the many industries have been developed, like small scale industries also have picked up to large scale industries, etc., etc. So basically now as we have seen that in earlier years what was happening, and now everyone is thinking about the pollution, global warming, etc. So the smoke discharge to the actual atmosphere is very very harmful. So nowadays the people are forced to think that now that how much the less amount of smoke is to be eliminated from the chimney. So therefore we can say that the this type of nations is an advanced nation nowadays. Effect on health of human beings: falling standard of living of people in the vicinity of smoke emitting chimneys, and the financial loss due to incomplete combustion forced one to think about measuring smoke density and taking preventive measures to improve upon in those three counts. So nowadays, as we have seen that the pollution should be less, then there should be a very less effect on the human beings of that particular smoke. So all these factors comes under the measurement of smoke, and the points such as the effect of health on human beings, then the standard of living of the people in the vicinity of the smoke. That is, some people may gossip like from this industry this much amount of smoke is exhausted, so this is creating a problem for the health of the human beings. Then at the same time, smoke can generate due to incomplete combustion of fuel. So these all parameters are required for measuring smoke. They just cause to think over the measurement of smoke density, and on that particular measurement also the conclusion was made around for taking the preventive measures for improving this amount of the smoke. Then color of the smoke from white to black also gives some idea about the smoke density and the incomplete combustion rate. So see that this smoke conversion from white to black gives the amount of in combustion or incomplete combustion rate. While we will see that the smoke is converting from white to black, generally the combustion is completely not done. So there are chances that if in case of IC engine the knocking can be created, or in case of power plant systems the fuel is incompletely burnt, or the parts of the particular system are improperly maintained, etc. So the levels of emissions of different constituents imposed by government regulatory authorities like pollution control board have to be followed to avoid penalties and legal proceedings. So nowadays there are certain pollution acts presented by the government, so that when a company or industry is being employed, first they have to follow all the pollution control guidelines, and then they can get a permit for running the particular industry. So there are various acts also for preventing the pollution of the environment with the help of smoke. Photocell type smoke detectors are used most commonly in the thermal power plants. The projector with light source to focus light beam through the duct or chimney is installed on one side of the chimney. So see that in this type of particular smoke detectors, one type is known as a photocell type smoke detector. So in this, through the duct or through the chimney, the projector is sent to with having a high intensity of light source, and it just analyzes the particular smoke in this manner. The receiver with photocell to receive the light energy focused from the projector is fixed exactly on the opposite side, so that the receiver will directly actually capture the amount of smoke intensity. Both projector and receiver are supplied with controlled power. The control unit consisting of indicator, recorder and annunciation system is added. The variation of the obscuration of the light source due to smoke and dust in the flue gas generates a signal in the photocell circuit. So what will happen is, after the projector and receiver are in continuous operation, therefore the receiver will actually achieve the signal from that particular chimney or the duct, and it will provide the image in to the projector, and so that with the color code we can analyze the amount of smoke or dust in the particular flue gas. Then going to the next slide, this is the diagram which is showing the how the for projector and receiver works in order to measure the smoke in the particular flue gas. So there may be a chimney or a duct provided there, which is known as a stack, and from that the flue gas will be passed and it will be taken out to the from the upper end to the atmosphere. So therefore before that projector receiver will be there in the flue gas level, and projector will be at the opposite ends, means both will be added at the or placed at the opposite ends, and the projector will take the signal and it will provide it to the power supply and electronic unit, and the power is also taken to the receiver also. So after the receiving the image from the projector, this will be taken up as a electronic circuit and it will be given to the indicator, recorder and alarm unit, so that if the amount of smoke is more, then there should be some changes to be made in the particular system, in the operation of the power plant, in the operation of any system, or any we can say an engine which creates more smoke. The variation in the signal, which is a measure of dust and smoke in the flue gas, is processed further by the electronic circuit and displayed in the control unit. The final indication or recording is calibrated in percentage obscuration. A simplified sketch of a smoke detector is shown in the figure using obscuration. Obscuration principle, I will explain you here that obscuration means the connection of the receiver and projector taking and they're just taking an image of that particular as output, that is known as obscuration. Regular cleaning of projector and receiver lenses and provision of extension tubes are found useful to minimize the fouling. Now what will happen is, as projector and receiver both will have some lenses, for one for the receiver, one for the projector. So as the smoke has a various color, there are chances that the lens of the receiver and projector may get faded, and due to that the useful maintenance is to be continuously done there. Then going to the next slide is dust monitor. Now after smoke, we are going to see how the dust is measured. The majority of the thermal power plant boilers use coal as main fuel. When coal is burned in suspension, there is always a possibility of coal dust and fly ash being carried away with the flue gas. It is essential to measure the amount of dust particles coming out of chimney and getting into atmosphere. It is also important to comply with the norms of the government regulatory bodies. Optical type, electrical type, electrostatic type, and reflected light type are the commercially available dust monitors. Reflected light type, a very commonly used one, is discussed here. Now see, while measuring the smoke, there is another type of impurity which we can call it as like dust, which is coming out from the particular, or which is we can have the measurement of any particular uh, dust quantity from coming from the engine. So if coal is burnt, and due to this, in suspension means what, coal is burnt in large quantity, and after that there are various ways in which the coal is converted into a fly ash or a coal dust. So while flue gas, the when the coal is burned, some particles of that are the burnt particles of the coal which are in ash condition will have a very lower density, and therefore there are chances that they may pass away with the flue gas, and due to this some coal dust or fly ash can be collected at the top side of the chimney, or it can be exhausted to the atmosphere. So therefore that particular amount of particles which are coming outside the chimney are known as the dust particles. So there are various norms also, as we have seen for smoke also there are certain norms of pollution. So similarly for measurement of the dust also there are certain norms, and various types of dust monitors are available. So we are giving more focus on the reflected light type of a dust monitor. So this is the diagram of a dust monitor, which is going to give us the exact value of the amount of the dust particles is in there. Again, through this pipe, you can say, or a duct, or the chimney, the flue gas is sent inside, and at the top and side you will see that the flue gas is coming outside. But now the amplifier, indicator, recorder and controls will give us the signal. Now suppose if a dust particle is passing through this, so with this we can take as the focal point, or the point at which we are having the dust here. So as soon as the dust comes from this pipe and it is located here, this photocell and this lamp will create a image of that particular location as a particular solid quantity. Means when this dust particle is detected here, then it will be taken up by this photocell, and this photocell will amplify it in a higher manner, means some image will be magnified. So therefore this magnification image will also give the signal to the indicator, recorder and control, in order to find that how much particles are there, what are the various dimensions of that particular dust particles, etc. But for receiving the dust monitor here, one lamp and reflector is provided. So what this lamp and reflector will do is, this will create a large high intensity light on this particular area, so that this dust particles image is being taken up by this photocell. So this is the work of the lamp and reflector. Again we will repeat here, the work of the lamp and reflector is, it will create a high density light in this area of the movement of flue gas, so that the dust particles image will be taken up by this photocell, and then the further process is repeated. It normally measures the light reflected or scattered from dust instead of the light absorbed by the dust. It consists of a lamp with reflector and a photocell receiver. They are mounted on one side of the stack as shown in the figure. The source beams the light into the duct through proper opening, as we have explained for the lamp and reflector. Some of this light beam will get reflected by the dust particles. The reflected light is received by the photocell and processed further. The amount of reflected light is an indication of the dust quantity present in the flue gas. So therefore, this is the working of the dust monitor. Then this we all know that nowadays CCTV footage are more important in determining any proof of any particular matter. So closed circuit televisions are also used to record or measure the types of oxygen in that particular, or for measuring the smoke or dust in the particular thermal power plant. Because see that there are points where natural human beings cannot go at that particular survive at that particular higher pressures and temperatures. So in some cases, or in some cases where there is a various higher height from the ground level, there also the CCTVs are required. So the closed circuit televisions are found in many applications in the thermal power plant. The important ones are for smoke or dust viewing from the chimney outlet. So we can employ that CCTV camera at the top side of the chimney for viewing smoke or dust. Then second is monitoring the drum level indication through gauge glass in the control room. Already if you want the details of this, see the lecture of the level recorders in power plant instrumentation. We have already discussed this in detail. For adjusting flame in the combustion chamber, also CCTV is required. That CCTV will just give the signal, and if the flame intensity is lower or higher, we can adjust accordingly. For scanning intruders for security reasons, so this is the major system for saving it with the help of the external inflage, and therefore for security reasons also CCTVs are employed. The first two applications are widely practiced in thermal power plants, and the last two applications are sparingly used. Means the last two applications are also considered generally. One example we will take of a chimney, how a CCTV camera is doing the work of, or CCTV is doing the work of the measurement. So see that here, this is a chimney which is exhausting the flue gas from the top end here. So the monitor will be there here, and at the same time, if there are two cameras, then how one camera is measuring the smoke or dust, and the camera 2 is measuring the actual level. So you can see one camera is TV1 and second is TV2. So TV1 is measuring the amount of smoke or the dust coming from the chimney, and it is giving the signal. And this TV2, that is CCTV2, is measuring the height of the drum as a level recorder in the side gauge glass. So therefore these two are doing the various work. So in the control room, we will have two monitors. One will be connected, monitor 1 will be connected to TV1, and monitor 2 will be connected to the TV2, which is at the drum level. So we can measure easily the level and the amount of smoke or dust with the help of these CCTVs. So the figure explains the use of CCTVs in thermal power plants for monitoring smoke and drum water level. If color of the smoke is black, one can assume incomplete combustion in the furnace and combustibles are being carried away through chimney. So as we have explained, if the smoke color is black, then there are some impurities also coming from the chimney. White color indicates complete combustion, maybe with more excess air. Intermediate colors form black to white may give indications of the combustion process. So there are various color codes like between black and white. One example is gray color. So therefore that will have some another type of the combustion process. Then next point is fuel analyzers. The fuels used in the power plant are solid, liquid, or gaseous in nature. In all the fuels, the useful elements are carbon and hydrogen in different combinations. So the fuels are required to be analyzed. So for why they are required to analyze? So first point is to know the heat contents per unit volume per weight of the fuel, that is for finding its calorific value for combustion air planning. And second is to know the constituents of the fuel for combustion efficiency calculation. These are the two main points for which the fuel analysis is to be done. So first is the basic thing up to which the calorimeter is used for analyzing the fuel. So calorimeter is normally installed in thermal power stations for finding out the heating value of the fuel that is supplied. So we can see that this value is nothing but the calorific value. It can be either a laboratory device or an online recording and indicating instrument. Means this type of calorimeter can be means the fuel sample can be taken into a laboratory and it can be checked for its calorific value, or while it is in the operation, the at the inlet point we can employ an online recording and indicating instrument and measure the calorific value of the fuel. The unit for calorific value is kilocalories per normal cubic meter, so it is kilocals per meter cube. The standard way of measuring calorific value of any fuel is to burn the fuel in a combustion chamber and note the temperature of the chamber when measured fuel and air are being supplied. This is the general way of measuring the calorific value. Means we have to first burn the fuel in a combustion chamber and we have to note down the temperature of the chamber when measured fuel and air temperature will be supplied. In means before combustion temperature is to be recorded, and after combustion the temperature is to be recorded. The temperature of the outgoing products can be related to the calorific value of the fuel on basis of the combustion of the products, and therefore the temperature of the measurement of the temperature of the exhaust gases, the calorific value can be related. Calorimeters are likely to go much better for solid and gaseous fuels than for liquid fuels, which are inherently difficult to test accurately for heating values. Because see that for solids and gaseous fuels, it is much easy to measure, but for liquid, there are certain compositions. These liquid fuels are composed of various chemicals, so therefore it is harder to measure or test accurately measure the heating value, that is calorific value. On the other hand, fuel oil is a much more homogeneous substance than coal, and good estimates of heating value can be obtained from hydrometer readings. So an hydrometer can be used for measuring the fuel oil. The apparatus for heating value testing falls into general categories. First is an individual sample or batch apparatus, as we have explained in earlier slide that the sample can be taken in the laboratory and measured, or for the fuel can be taken in certain batches and then it can be measured for its heating value. Solid fuels are tested with individual sample apparatus, gaseous fuels by continuous flow apparatus, and liquid flow by either type depending on the volatility. So see that when solid fuels are tested, some individual sample is taken, it is taken in laboratory, then the reading is out, and then this reading will determine the use of the solid fuels. Then in gaseous fuels, continuous flow supply is being given through the apparatus, and an online recording is done with an instrument for measuring the gaseous fuels, and depending upon the volatility of the liquid fuel, either of the two are used. Now, one is a gas calorimeter. We all know this concept where air is supplied to the pilot, and at the same time gas in supply, the gas is taken and the flame is occurring in the burner. So for cooling this particular flame, water is provided from inlet to outlet, and therefore it is going to give us the temperature difference at the colder stage and at the flame stage. The calorimeter shown in figure is a continuous flow gas calorimeter. The fuel is burned in a steady flame with air as an oxidant. The gas flow and air flow are adjusted to a special gas burner for perfect combustion. The pilot burner is used to have continuous flame for uninterrupted burning of the test gas. So see here that the gas flow and air flow are adjusted to a special gas burner for perfect combustion, because for the movement of the gas we require air for the combustion. The pilot burner is used to have continuous flame for uninterrupted burning of the test gas. So as we have explained that this pilot will give us a continuous flame, and this burner will be giving us an uninterrupted flame in small manner. The heat released after burning is absorbed by the water circulating in the tubes. So in these tubes, the water is circulating. The flow of water and temperature rise is also measured. With this information, the heating value of the gas can be calculated. Keeping air, gas and water flow constant, the calorific value can be assessed only with the temperature measurement. So this is the way in which the fuel can be analyzed with the help of a gas calorimeter. Now fuel composition analysis. How the analysis is done of the fuel composition? There are two ways in which we can do the analysis of the fuel composition. The constituents of fuel are always carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen, and certain mineral non-combustibles. So basically, as we know that the output of the gas, when we have to measure the output of the gas or the constituents of fuel, the fuel is composed of these many particular we can say materials. So therefore, two forms of coal analysis are used by combustion engineers. One is proximate analysis and second is ultimate analysis. So we will see this in detail here now. Basically, proximate analysis and ultimate analysis are different. In proximate analysis, this analysis is done for separation of coal into moisture, volatile material, fixed carbon and ash. So see that this analysis is done for separation of coal into moisture, volatile material, fixed carbon and ash. So see that when a fuel is having a particular combination, this proximate analysis will be helpful for separating these quantities. This analysis is readily made by thermal mass means and with a moderate amount of equipment. This is made by heating the coal until it decomposes successively into three of the four complex items of proximity analysis. That is, moisture is one complex item, then volatile material and ash. So basically, the conversion of the fuel gas into this type of systems is done in order to maintain the perfect composition of the fuel during combustion. And one is the last one is the ultimate analysis, which may be the last point of our lecture also. The proximate analysis is of little use in combustion calculations, which are essentially chemical equations. So a chemical or ultimate analysis is required for that kind of work. The quantitative separation of such a compound as coal into its chemical elements requires not only a well-equipped chemical laboratory but also expert chemists. Now see that while doing an ultimate analysis of particular fuel, generally it is requiring a quantitative separation of a compound of a gas. Basically means if a compound is coal, so the coal will also be substituted in its own chemical elements. We know the types of the coals also and its chemical composition also. So in ultimate analysis, each and every parameter is considered, and these parameters will help us to analyze the or find the effective and accurate composition of fuel. So basically, guys, see that in this lecture particularly, we have observed the various types of the analysis equipments, then how to analyze the smoke, to measure the smoke, then how to measure dust, and how to measure the how to analyze the fuel and how to analyze the fuel composition. So then again, we are coming to the end of this power plant instrumentation lecture series. Another one lecture is remaining, so we are going to conclude that lecture on some another day. And hopefully you will be liking all the lectures based on this power plant instrumentation. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button for achieving more videos related to engineering systems, and therefore it will also improve your technical knowledge. Also, if you have any suggestions regarding the our uploadation of our videos, the content of our videos, or if you want any another type of the another type of videos or another lecture series also, just kindly comment on our channel, so that if possible we are going to implement that also. So thank you.